Hello and welcome to Hibs Talk. I'm your host as always, Gavin. Joining me today as always is Dave
Alright.
and Stephen.
Hello.
So we're going to start off with really positive news today. I'm sure we're going to have a bit of nagging to do about the throwing away a 2-0 lead at Kilmarnock, but we'll get back to that. Paul Hanlon wasn't in the starting lineup for the Kilmarnock game because the day before he became a dad. So I think you'll agree with me in wishing Paul Hanlon a massive congratulations in becoming a dad.
Aye.
Yep.
That was so heartfelt. I'm sure he'd love that. Just
Nah, fair play to him. Enjoy.
Paul Hanlon's centre-half partner has been in the news. Darren McGregor came out after some decisions from the Kilmarnock game, and we'll get more into the specifics from the Kilmarnock game after the news, but he was talking about referees and saying they should be allowed to come out and explain their decisions after the games. So, I mean, I know this is a topic which comes up a lot, especially south of the border and stuff. One, do you guys know of anywhere else in the world where this is done? And two, should it be done? And three, would it work?
On Twitter.
Right.
Well, it's done in rugby.
It's done in rugby.
You can hear the ref, the reasoning for the rest decisions in rugby.
What about post-match, though?
It should be, well, post-match, obviously they're not going to do it during the game in football because the language and that wouldn't be broadcastable because it's a slightly different class that play rugby and they've got a bit more etiquette about them, if that's the way to put it. But
Yeah.
100% post-match there should be something that comes out, because if players and managers have to get put up in front of the cameras for making their decisions like mistakes, then so should referees.
Stephen?
I think on the back of what Dave says, I mean, the journalists were quick enough to pull up Lennon about how he reacted to the referee and the assistant referee, and he had to sit and explain himself and why he acted the way he did. I mean, it's only fair that the referee should be grilled as well.
And it's not just that. I mean, managers get, why did you go with this formation? Why did you make this sub at this time?
Yeah.
Why did you do this? Players, why did you not pass to
Yeah,
your
the thing
partner?
is, like, every single referee has a match report to produce at the end of the game. So, I mean, if they've got to produce that, why not release it?
And I don't know, I mean, I think, the managers come out and say, oh, I got the formation wrong today, or I got the team wrong today. I should have lined up differently today. Not always, but sometimes managers will come out and they'll be that honest. I think if referees done that, would it have the same effect? Would it give them that respect and that bit of humanity, or would people just get really annoyed?
No, well, you've seen it been introduced to BT, like they've started getting Howard Webb like talking about the decisions when something's happening, and it just gives everybody watching the game like a wee bit like a referee's view on things. So why not have that after the game? Like the ref will come out and talk about it, because it is interesting. There's a different element to the game that you maybe didn't look at, and if he comes out and just explains why he's done something, you maybe would get folk going, alright, I'm gonna have a look at it like that. But nobody knows how he looks at it, because it's just accepted.
That's the thing. I mean, you have referees come out after every game and say, oh, like, refereeing's the hardest job in football, like, because they've obviously got to make all the main decisions in the game. Like, why can't they just come out and justify it? Like, justify why it's the hardest role in a football game. Like, I mean, they're the ones that make the decisions on penalties, yellow cards, red cards, whatever. Like, they don't just influence that game. They influence like 2-3 games down the line as well if they give a red card or whatever. So, I mean, that does need to be explained.
And would it change the quality of refereeing as well? Because if they're known they're having to come out and justify a decision at the end of it, and giving reasons and that.
I
But
don't
you know
think that would. No.
But if you're getting followed up at work, just saying your everyday job, and you're having to get explained why you've done something after it, you're going to be, I don't know, your thought process is you're going to put different things into it.
Would they then start to overthink things and maybe not give penalties that they should give and not give goals that they should give? Could it then swing the other way?
I don't think I've ever seen a referee in Scotland think about inning for 2 seconds, let alone overthinking it.
They don't got the brain capacity
No,
for that.
I don't think overthinking is an issue.
Okay, so moving on, we update with Hibs ladies who were playing at the weekend and had a derby game in the League Cup and beat, I'll tell you what, I'd love a score like this, a week on Friday, beat Hearts 4-0, and that puts them into the quarterfinals. Of course, they're still the holders of the League Cup. They're into the quarterfinals with Glasgow City, Celtic, Rangers, Forfar Spartans, and Stirling University, with Glasgow Girls and Hamilton being postponed. And also with Hibs Ladies, Scotland Duties, Jenna Fife, Kirsty Smith, Rachel McLaughlin, and Lucy Graham have been called up for the upcoming games against Sweden, New Zealand, and Iceland.
Decent.
Good.
So final bit of news is something that we'll go straight into the Kilmarnock game from this. Mickey Weir came out and said a point at Killie is not the worst result for Hibs, and a quote here to kind of back up this what he was saying. He put, shows where Hibs are at the moment when they can come away from slightly disappointed with a point against arguably the most informed team in the league, and he understands the frustration from being 2-0 up and throwing that away, but still a point away to Killie. So going into the game, would you be pleased with a point?
No.
I don't think so, because I've got ambitions. I still think we will finish fourth, but I've got ambitions to catch Rangers and Aberdeen, and with Rangers obviously playing Hearts and Aberdeen playing Celtic that weekend, I thought us playing early on Saturday had a chance to put a bit of pressure on them, so I wanted a win, so I wouldn't have took a draw.
Okay. So, great start to the game. Canberra, after 28 seconds, I'm not sure exactly which one of the two it is, but Philip Stevenson, he drilled it in, caused the defence issues, and then Canberra, who we've said we've had our doubts about, getting 3 goals in 4 games, is it?
Yep.
So, thoughts on the start to the game we made?
It was good to get a wee bit of luck, and that's the way that the last few games have went for us. We're getting the rub of the green now. We got a bit lucky with the cross in for Stevenson, took a couple of deflections, but fell to Canberra and he put it away. I mean, like you says, we all had doubts about his scoring record before he came to Easter Road, but he's filled it in well. He's, like you says, 3 goals in 4 games. Good return for any striker. And from that point, we looked on top of the game for once.
Mm-hmm.
It was a decent start to the game, and then felt like we could have just gone and hammer somebody for a change. But like Stephen's saying, it was a bit fortunate, but it was good. In the build up to the first goal, it was Canberra that made the run.
Yeah. Determination just to keep on going and burst of gut to get into the box.
A few boys, and then still I ran into the box. Hint of offside, but I don't think it was. We've discussed this. It looked like his
I think
arm
it was just
offside.
because I think the law is you can't, if you're offside with a body part you can't score with, it doesn't count as offside.
Yeah,
something like that.
Aye, it's no Jason Cummins, so he's not going to put it in his hand, is he? So it was a good start, and then second goal, decent ball in for Scott Allen, which is refreshing because it's like we've got somebody that can take a set piece now.
Yeah.
And obviously decent goal by Porteous.
Aye, I have to say a bit fortunate with the defenders at O'Donnell, like the right back, who completely lost. I mean, fair play to Porteous, done his job well, but O'Donnell should not have lost Porteous that easily. And then once you've got the space, you've got to take advantage of it. And my God, he did. Great header, brilliant to see him. You know, you'd never guess it was an 18-year-old laddie.
He's a proper centre back,
yeah.
Though. Like he makes the runs on a corner, and he makes sure he's in the middle of the box where he can score the headers. He got into a position where he was free. It was a free header at the end of the game, but I mean, you take it, and it was. I mean, for an 18-year-old to get into those positions already, like he's got to be one for the future.
So, the Kilmarnock goal that gets them back into it, people saying potential goal of the season. Should he get that much space, or do we go, you know what, great goal, no much we could do?
It is a good goal, but then you've got to look at the build up to it. Like, was it a corner? I know we've then got to go and defend that corner, but
personally I think it was.
But you didn't know for sure. There's no an angle that shows like whether it was or no, and you had the players arguing whether it's a corner or no, and then I honestly think the ref guessed at that as well.
I don't think the referee can see it, but when we see it on the telly, I think it's a corner.
Jink?
Aye.
I think the build up play was when like he basically just bounced the ball over McGinn's foot. That's what like allowed him the space to score, and I mean he just glided past McGinn, and I think it was brought up by Stevie Thompson and Michael Stewart after the game as well. McGinn shouldn't have given him that much space.
No, definitely not. And then they get a free kick. Ambrose quite lucky that McGregor gets back in front of the goal, because I don't think if McGregor hadn't got that couple of yards further back, then Ambrose was walking. But instead, Ambrose just got the booking, thankfully. And then am I right in saying that's what resulted in the penalty?
Aye, well, big fat Chris Boyd hit the free kick. I think rattled off the wall, then came back out, and then they hit a shot that was probably nearly hitting the corner flag, and then hit Porteous' elbow. Somehow that's a penalty.
I'll be honest, when I first seen it in live, I went, that's a penalty. And then seeing it in slow motion and seeing it again, I was like, oh no, that's not a penalty. Referee gets one chance to see it. I'm playing devil's advocate here. The referee gets one chance to see it.
He's got two assistants who saw it at a different angle.
I've made the argument for the years that our assistants are useless when it comes to decisions like that. But
if a referee at the end of the day though they're not sure, then they shouldn't give a penalty. You've got to.
But I thought it was a penalty. I would have put it to the spot.
I wouldn't have given it.
No, 100%. It isn't a penalty.
Yeah, I know that now. But when I saw it, I saw a young laddie going in for a block and raising his arm like that.
But you could see that he was pulling away.
But then
you could see where
his arm does go up, but then it comes back in.
But you could see
when
that
it's coming
you could
back
see
in,
the ball was going a mile wide.
But you see a young laddie going in for a block with his arm up in the air. Next thing you know, the ball's hit it. That looks like a penalty.
I wouldn't have said so.
It looked like the ref couldn't wait to get it. I'm not even like no conspiracy. I don't believe there's any like conspiracy of that. I just think the quality of refereeing is absolutely brutal.
Right.
And I don't think it's anything to do with they hate Hibs or whatever. I just think he's seen an opportunity and went, came at a penalty.
Why would a referee think that way?
Because there's no logic behind getting that decision. He's just rashly went penalty. Whereas see if, like what we just said, see if he thought about it for 2 seconds, like the ball's gone a mile wide, his arms is still in his body, like his arm's bent. It's not like he's an outstretched arm.
There's no arguing it's not a penalty,
exactly.
But like I say, my first instinct,
when
I first saw it,
refereeing.
I thought it was a penalty.
So what other way did the ref think then?
He only gets to see it once.
Exactly, he's just went, penalty.
He has to make a judgment call on what he sees. The penalty's given and Chris Boyd takes it. Marciano makes the save, but unfortunately Chris Boyd with the rebound puts it back, puts it in, makes it 2-2. Lennon apparently says something to the fourth official, which gets him sent to the stand. And when the referee comes over to send him to the stand, he gives him abuse before he does, and then sarcastically claps in his face. What's your thoughts on this?
I think I'll actually let you and Dave go at this because you've got some opinions that you want to voice, Gav.
Neil Lennon is right in what he's saying in his argument and the points that he's making, and I think the way he went about it wasn't right, but I still think he's right.
So my argument is Neil Lennon is not a player.
No.
Neil Lennon's a manager.
Correct.
And he might have got away with that at Celtic or Bolton, but now he's at Hibs. There's such a thing as Hibs class. The way he acted at the touchline was not Hibs class. It was pathetic, and it was what he was when he was a Celtic player. And so then he does his post-match interview afterwards, and he talks about Clancy and the fact that 3 times we've had things have came up and stuff. The only word that he was missing, or one or two words that he was missing to make him sound more like a Rangers or Hearts manager, was agenda or conspiracy. And I don't want my Hibs manager acting that way and coming out with things like that.
No, but that's what I was just saying. I don't think there is a conspiracy, and he didn't say that, did he? So he'd probably.
But he had a go. He said it was Clancy specifically.
Because he's a bad referee, and he thinks the exact same as. Well, I agree with Neil Lennon. I think the quality refereeing is poor, and I'm not saying there is an agenda of that, but they're not consistent. So Clancy sees the handball, or he doesn't see the handball. With Rangers against us at Easter Road, that is a blatant penalty. Doesn't get given. The same referee gives this one. It's no blatant penalty against us. So where's the consistency? That's horrendous refereeing.
The thing was, Lennon never actually specifically labelled Clancy in his interview as well. He did mention Clancy's name because he was the referee at the time, but he also mentioned that there was other referees in the SPL that are doing the exact same thing.
He said that's 3 times now Clancy's cost us points, is what he said.
Yeah, of course, the Hearts game, the Rangers game, and that game.
Mm.
But I mean,
well, he never said points obviously because it was a cup game. The ball being over the line.
But was Clancy the referee in that one?
Yeah.
Is he? Oh, no, fair enough. I just think that Neil Lennon is right. But
I know he's annoyed and it's post match, but the way he was talking sounded like if Craig Levein had acted that way, if Craig Levein had clapped in a referee's face, if Craig Levein had come out with that post match interview, we would be retweeting that and laughing at him. It was embarrassing.
The only bit I agree with is his initial reaction, but I think he's right with everything he's saying, and I don't think there's anything wrong with Neil Lennon coming out and saying that.
There's nothing wrong with coming maybe like at the end of the season or maybe in the build up to the Hamilton game when you've composed yourself, saying we have a serious issue in Scotland with the level of quality of refereeing and it's something that needs to be looked at. But to act like that in the touchline, which is not the first time he's done it, he done it in his first game at Hibs. He got sent to the stand against Bromby, and then to act like that in a post-match interview is not up to standard of a Hibs manager.
I'll tell you why he done it in the post-match interview, because he already knew that he was getting a ban for it. The fact was, if he had left that to the end of the season, that would go into next season. He realised that his reaction had already got him a ban, and he stated that. He says, well, I think he was brought up, and the journalist brought up saying, "Oh, do you think that there'll be repercussions for that?" He turned around and says, "Probably." He knew that he was getting a ban for it, so what's the point in dragging it out until the end of the season? He might as well just get it all out there and then. He's already labelled Clancy as a bad referee. There's other managers that have labelled other referees as bad this season. There is no consistency in the SPL with referees at all. I can't name one good referee in the SPL.
No, I'd agree with that.
But the fact is, though, Gav,
he's got to act better if he wants to be the Hibs manager.
He does need to cool it, but I still think that him getting asked the questions off it was the BBC interview, I think it was McLaughlin or something, him getting asked the questions, I think it's refreshing that he just answered them honestly. Knowing he's getting a ban or no, he's not giving us any crap. He's talking as if he's one of us. At the end of the day, he's under a lot of pressure to get points. He makes the point as well that we're going for a European spot. This could cost us a lot of money. And just poor refereeing to the point it's ridiculous isn't good enough.
One last thing I would say about Lennon, which I thought was very embarrassing, was in his pre-match build-up, he was asked about the artificial pitch, and he said that we can't use that as an excuse. We've played there and won there already this season. That that if we get beat, we can't then use that as an excuse. There's no excuse, blah, 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 blah. And then after the match, he comes out and said, the fact is, the pitch is abysmal. I can understand why Kilmarnock have won 7 in a row here. It's impossible to play football on it. It's dangerous. What happened to it, so it's not an excuse.
You can't use the pitch as too much of an excuse, but obviously Kilmarnock training it. They play on it every week, so they have got an advantage over teams that don't use it. But it's still fucking Kilmarnock at the end of the day. Like, teams should be able to beat them. But I think I saw it with McGeoch when he was in the touchline at one time trying to control the ball. And, McGeoch's touch is immaculate. But the way it bounced the boot and it stuck, and the boy ended up going for a throw-in. And McGeoch looked like tit.
I hate the Kilmarnock pitch, and I would have it torn up tomorrow. But to come out and say, "Oh, we've already won on it, and we're not going to use that as an excuse," and then use it as an excuse, I hate to come back to it, but that's Craig Levine material.
Well, I can see where you're coming for that one, but
It's embarrassing.
He was an angry man, though.
Neil Lennon has won me round in so many ways, but the one thing I was always worried about was his touchline antics and his press match stuff.
But I can honestly see both sets of the argument. You put out a poll, and it's like, did Lennon go too far?
Aye, so the results of the poll were, did he go too far? 32% said yes, and 68% said he was justified. And on Instagram, 22% said yes, and 78% he was justified.
So you've obviously got a lot of passionate Hibs fans as well who would bring off their nut in that situation. But obviously we're not paid to be the Hibs manager and manage and show that level. Fans are a different level.
Yeah,
like can be passionate. What was I even saying before that?
I don't know.
This could be a good thing because Parker's still got 100% record as Hibs manager.
You bring this up every single time, which seems to be a lot because Lennon seems to spend a lot of time in the stands.
But it's a good thing, isn't it? No. if he's not losing games, then Lennon's got good cover, as you know. Lennon knew what was coming up.
Aye. Due to work and family commitments, none of us were able to make it out to Kilmarnock and had to watch the game on television, so we thought we'd get somebody on who was actually out at the game. So here's the thoughts from Macca. So Macca, you made the trip up to the game. First off, how did you find the atmosphere?
I thought the atmosphere was absolutely fantastic. I think the fans that were there got behind the team even before the kickoff. It was great. It was like an air of expectancy, and I think Hibs rose to the occasion, taking the lead in 27 seconds.
Yeah.
Was absolutely fantastic. I think the way we started in the first half, and I don't really know what game Stevie Clark was watching, but he seems to think that Kilmarnock dominated the first half.
I heard that.
We did.
He said to his team at half time, the better team's losing, go out and fix that. And it's like, no, I'd say Hibs were the better team in the first half.
I had to check myself, I know I'm blind in that, but when he said the better team's losing, they were losing at half time, I'm thinking, no, I'm certain, I really think we had a lot of the play, and to be honest, we could have had the game won by half time.
Canberra's
could have been at least 3 or 4 on.
Aye, Canberra 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper should have made it 3-0. Big chance missed there, but can't blame the lad because he's been absolutely brilliant since he came in. He has. I think I was
refreshing.
Yeah,
because no one really had heard of him, and he's obviously signed for Hibs, and you're thinking, well, who is this guy? And he's came in, and I'm sure he scored. Did he score in his debut, if I remember rightly?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a midweek game, Motherwell, I think it was, at home. And yeah, he's done well since he came in, and his attitude's been second to none. And I think it's really good that I was delighted when he got his goal.
I was quite worried because I looked up his goal record at previous clubs, which was nothing to boast about, and then I think I watched a YouTube compilation of him, and he just looked very indecisive and that, and I'm like, but he's young, we might be able to get the best of him. And yeah, he's so far so good. So I apologise to him for doubting him. So yeah, unfortunately he didn't take that chance that could have maybe killed the game before we even got to half time. And obviously it was great to see, with Hanlon out for family reasons, positive family reasons, becoming a dad for the first time.
Congratulations to the Hanlon family. That's brilliant. That's Paul. Great again. Another good servant to the club, another good lad, and obviously he had to miss out this game, but Ryan came in, and Ryan done really well.
Yeah, really stepped up.
He done that well. The fans even had a song about him, So it shows what an impact he's had on not only on the club but on the team, his teammates, but the fans as well.
Yeah. So obviously there was the Kilmarnock wonder goal which, I mean, I don't think the defence, I mean, maybe shouldn't have given him as much space as they did, but still,
Yes.
a strike like that, there's not much you can do about it. You don't really expect him to hit it where he is, and he does, and the goalkeeper can't get anywhere near it, so no much we could have done there. And then a penalty to make it 2-2. Marciano saves it, and Boyd does really well with the follow-in, because he doesn't just tap in the rebound, but hits it in towards the ground, so it bounces over Marciano.
I mean, apparently Steve Clark was asked about the penalty, and he said that sometimes you get them and sometimes you don't. So that's clearly his view on the penalty, that I don't think he thought it was a penalty.
No. I'll be honest, my initial thought was, oh, that's a penalty.
Right.
And then when I see it again, see it in slow motion, see it from different camera angles, I go, nah, that's not a penalty. But on my first reaction, I went, because of the way he went to block it, and maybe the fact it was 18-year-old Porteous was in my head, like, a young laddie making a silly mistake. But when I saw it again, I thought, nah, that's not a penalty. So, I mean, first instincts, I thought it was I can understand why the referee's made the decision he has.
But of course, Neil Lennon said that the same referee missed a similar chance to give a penalty when Hibs played against Rangers, the handball incident. So, he's obviously, Neil Lennon sort of said that that particular referee doesn't really give Hibs a lot. But as I said, I thought their goal galvanised them. I thought they really pushed on, and it would be interesting. I know we'll never know now, but it would be interesting to know if they didn't get the penalty, would they have got the equaliser? I just think when I think about the weekend and the way the results have gone, I'm quite glad we've came out with a point. I mean, when I came up the ground, I was thinking to myself, maybe it's 2 points dropped. But when you look back on it and you look at the weekend, you're thinking, right, well, Rangers win, Celtic have won, Aberdeen have obviously dropped points. We've got a point, and of course Hearts drop points, so the gap becomes bigger between us and Hearts, and we've gained a point closer to Aberdeen. So really, all in all, when you look at it from that point of view, it's not a bad weekend for Hibs.
No, not at all. And Mickey Weir said that. We talked about that in the news about Mickey Weir saying that it's good that Hibs have came away from Rugby Park, who are the most informed team in Scotland, and they're disappointed with a point. That says a lot about where Hibs are at the moment. So, yeah.
And I think Kilmarnock will take points off other teams. I'm almost certain of it.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other night. The last week's podcast, and we're really saying we really think they can push for Kilmarnock can push for 5th place and really challenge Hearts for 5th place.
Yeah, that would be great. That really would be great if they'd done that.
And we go again on Wednesday night. Are you gracing Easter Road with your presence again?
Absolutely, yeah, I'll be there on Wednesday. Hamilton. Always a tough outfit when they come to Easter Road. Again, Hibs will have to try and break them down. I think they'll be sort of compact. The fans will have to be patient. But again, I think Hibs have got the firepower to break them down, and they've got the confidence, and as I mentioned before, hopefully the momentum to take 3 points, and that leaves us up with a nice little break, because we're obviously not in the Scottish Cup, so we come back after the Hamilton game to play Hearts, and obviously we'll be recuperated and rested by then, so 9 days break after the game on Wednesday, so that'll benefit us a lot. And of course our competitors Hearts and Aberdeen and Rangers, of course, all have to play in the Scottish Cup, so Hibs could really take advantage of this little bit period of time they've got off, and get ready to push for the last knockings before the split.
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming on, Maka, and
thank you very much for having me.
I will get you on again soon.
Absolutely, look forward to it.
Cheers, Maka.
Cheers, mate. Cheers.
Bye. Okay, so we've got Hamilton on Wednesday night. Aye. So this is why we're doing this podcast now in between the two. An early podcast to get out before the Hamilton game. So they're 2 points off the relegation playoff spot, but they've got 2 games on hand. Their last 3 games they got beat They got beat 3-0 off Aberdeen, and then there was a goal fest. They got beat 5-3 off of Rangers, and then just at the weekend there, they beat Partick Thistle 2-1, although watching the highlights it wasn't an impressive 2-1 win, but fair play to them, they're picking up points where they need to in the games that matter. So what's your thoughts on the game?
I want to absolutely hammer them, because I hope we come out angry for that weekend. Gave a good performance getting into the Hearts game, bit of confidence, and the fact that we've only taken 1 point off them this season. They embarrassed us at Easter Road the last time, so I want to hammer them, put them back in their place.
I'd agree with Dave.
Nothing more than that, just you want a big bag?
100%.
No, I am right, to be fair.
Right, so nothing else to add?
Nah.
Just that. Okay, so to finish off, we're going to try something slightly different this week. Give us feedback to tell us whether you think this is something we should do on a regular basis. What we're going to do is we're going to put up a couple of Twitter polls about the game on Wednesday in terms of betting. So, for example, first goal scorer, correct score, and then what we'll do is we'll put in a couple of quid each and put a bet on it, and if it comes in, we'll ask for suggestions for a charity for you guys to choose.
Somebody picks one at random.
Yeah, whether it's Hibs related, such as the Dnipro appeal or Hibs community, or whether it's another one that's close to somebody's heart, we'll put it out there and we'll pick one. That's obviously depending on it coming in. So
just a wee bit of fun.
yeah, let's you guys sort of help pick it, and aye. So keep an eye out for that on the Hibs Talk Twitter, and if you haven't done already, give us a follow there, as well as we're on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, all that sort of stuff, all the good social medias, and subscribe and all that pleasantries. So hopefully you're all getting along on Wednesday night to the Hanlon game.
Yeah.
I know we're all heading along.
Right.
Meant to be a cold one though.
Weather's not meant to be the best, so leave early.
Nice.
Wrap up.
Aye.
Take your time. Get enough change in your pocket for a Bovril. That will be required.
Thanks again for listening, folks. We'll be back next week to preview the Hearts game.